of another interesting 5 years, or maybe 5 to 8 years.
That transition.
Apple is getting hit with the political pressure due to some of the marketing choices that they have made. They are getting sued. Well, they got fined by Brazil $19 million for not including chargers with their phones. And they're getting pressure from the UK to move to using USB-C charging ports instead of their lightning cables. One way to look at this, and this is the hot take, is Apple finally being punished for being anti-consumer. Is this the start of the consumers fighting back with some of the marketing choices that Apple has made?
I am a very well-known Apple hater. I have always been Team Android for years, and even Team Microsoft on the PC end. I'm glad that Apple's getting punished for this, because I feel like people just see Apple as this prime, top-tier product. But at the same time, a lot of consumers don't realize they took away our chargers. They still make y'all use this non-industry standard charging cable, when the shift to USB and tech is amazing. You can charge through it, you can connect to it, transfer information, a USB-C port. There are some PCs that are only being made with a USB-C port nowadays to conserve size and ports and everything else. And it's like, finally Apple is being told, hey, you need to adapt, because you're charging us for this amount of money for this product and it ain't doing what it need to do. Y'all trying to make this closed ecosystem and it ain't working. It just ain't.
So, yes, I agree that it's so many devices out there. Like, I was reading an article from the British Broadcasting Corporation that in 2009, there were 30 different types of chargers out there. Currently, there's only 3. Apple's Lightning cable, USB-C, and USB
3.1A, I think.
Yeah. When it's only 3. So they've limited from 30 to 3. Now, they want everybody to be under the same thing, because, why are we having all of these chargers? All of these devices should come with some type of standard. And I get that. I agree. Because why do I have a different charger for my iPhone? Why do I have a different charger for my headphones? Why do I have a different charger for this device? It would be convenient, highly convenient, if everybody just had the same type of charger. In the same article that I read, Apple's response for the standardization was, we remain concerned that strict regulation mandating just one type of connector stifles innovation rather than encouraging it, which in turn will harm consumers in Europe and around the world.
Apple ain't innovated in years.
That was
what has Apple innovated? BS. What have they innovated since What have they innovated since? Oh my God!
I don't know.
I got to take the glasses off.
How long?
I don't see. Okay, but I wanna touch on the statement. I don't see how changing the charging port, because I think they lose the argument a little bit, because the newest iPads and it's some other Apple device are using USB-C. So you already have products out there that is using USB-C. You're just being stubborn because you don't want to switch everything to use USB-C, because you're saying it's harming innovation. But my counter question is, how does changing the charging port limit innovation on your part? Right. Like, what does that have to do with improving your iOS software? What does that have to do with making the next big iPhone, making that next big jump in the smartphone industry? Like, how does that stop that progress by changing the charging port?
It doesn't. It just traps you in the ecosystem, because if you got nothing but a bunch of these lightning cables sitting around and Apple devices, and you realize they're not compatible with all of the other cords that are being developed by the rest of the world, you're going to say, you know what? It's a little difficult for me to leave this ecosystem. You ever try to tell an iPhone user or a Mac user or iPad user to stop using Apple? And how hard it is for them to adapt, even the software just to get their pictures, music, files off of those devices is difficult.
Yeah.
And it's on a hardware scale due to the lightning cable. It's not innovation.
Yeah.
The USB-C port is the innovation.
Yeah.
Tim Cook ain't innovative since he started Apple. Don't let me be political.
I think all of this is just the start of consumers coming out with all of their Apple complaints, and they're going to have to switch some things. They're going to have to change their ecosystem. Right. That they're going to have to conform to these changes and find different ways to innovate instead of making a charger that only works for iPhones or making cloud services and things that only work for Apple devices and things like that. Like, I get it. Like, yeah, I can do this between my iPhone and my iPad and my MacBook. But then when we step outside of that ecosystem, it's like, this is a pain in the ass.
Right.
And I think things like Brazil fining them 19 million and the UK putting their foot down on these chargers, I think it's just the start. Because other than the chargers, let's talk about the headphones. Apple removed the headphone port a long time ago. I can't remember which iPhone it was. It might have been 7. It might have been 7. I think it was the 7 or the 8.
It was like 7.
It was before the 10, right? It was before the 10.
Yeah,
it was 7 or 8 when they stopped putting that headphone port in the phone, and everybody lost their shit. But then they turned around and came out with the AirPods, and then everybody was like, oh, I'll just buy some AirPods. But what y'all not getting is y'all paying $500 plus for a phone, $1,000 plus for a phone, and have to pay an extra $150 for some Bluetooth AirPods, right, just so you can listen to your music.
But that is Apple's policy though. Like, if you look at Apple when they present themselves at different tech consumer expos, the way they speak is, we know what the consumer wants, not the consumer. We know what the consumer needs, not the consumer. Y'all don't need aux cords, even though every audiophile in every industry will say a headphone that can connect directly to the device gives you better audio quality. Yep. But we're going to sell y'all some $150 wireless earbuds and say, this is studio sound quality.
Yeah.
No, it's not. We're going to take away your chargers because it's good for the ecosystem.
That's what they said.
No.
I was just about to bring that up. So I read, this is from PC Mag, that Apple's decision to stop including a charger with new iPhones is meant to cut down the amount of electronic packaging waste the world produces.
No, and how much do they cost individually? Like $40+, right?
They are expensive.
Yeah.
Because Samsung doing the same thing because they realize they save money.
But the other thing that baffles me too is that they aren't forcing people to buy the Bluetooth AirPods. They're still selling the wired earbuds in the store. They have the lightning cable that you can plug in, but then here you go, where it's expanding more, is that you can only either have your charger plugged up to your phone or your headphones. And then Apple's like, hey, buy this adapter and you can have both. It's like, like somebody needs to get on them. Somebody needs to tell them to put that earphone jack back.
Like, they're working a little too smart right now.
It's innovation. It's innovation. They know what y'all want. Apple knows what you want.
Now let's not even forget that Apple is still being targeted by throttling their phones every time a new iPhone comes out. They have been fined. So the lawsuit that happened is Apple is being fined for $310 million for throttling their iPhones.
Because you, the consumer, Ralph, you gotta upgrade. You don't know what you need.
You don't know what you want, Ralph. You don't know that you don't need iOS 16 on your iPhone 8. You don't know that. So we're going to intentionally mess up your phone so you can buy a new one.
You don't need that iPhone 11 that you paid off. You need the 14 because guess what, Ralph? The camera's a little bit better. Your human eye can't tell the difference because you're just uploading a picture to Instagram, but it's so much better.
Hold on,
you need to get it for the same amount of money.
Hold on. But let's not forget that all of Apple's iPhones come from Android. All of their cameras come from Android.
Yeah, that
Gorilla Glass. Samsung do build y'all screens. We do.
So it's something else. It's something
the cameras.
Else
the back cameras come from Samsung.
Okay, there you go.
Like,
but I guess that's the thing though, to cover up the fact that half of the materials in y'all phone came from Samsung. We're going to innovate and make this specific charger and these specific set of earbuds to make you think that, you know, we're Apple specific, to cover that up.
And bro, the last innovative thing Apple has done is give y'all widgets on the software so that y'all can have pictures pop up on y'all screens. And Android, I'm not being that Android person, but we had that since the Galaxy 1.
So, and also to even add on that, the insane part is that iPhone 14 just came out and it looks exactly the same, bro.
It's the same device.
It's the same device. And the daughter of the owner of Apple has said it's literally the same thing.
Has said that. Isn't it It's Steve Jobs' daughter said that, right?
Yes.
That was her. That said the iPhone that there was
the founder.
There was nothing new, nothing innovative about the iPhone 14. But I only think that they put it out there is because if you notice the trend, it's always a new iPhone release with a new iOS release. So they could just be doing it, you know, new software is coming out, let's get a device out. And the device may not just, you know, the upgrades from 13 to 14 may not just be obvious. It could just be that whatever they did with the iPhone 14 supports iOS 16 better. Because I have been hearing people like with older phones saying that they upgraded to iOS 16 and now their battery is dying like crazy. Or I have a 13 and since I've updated to iOS 16, my phone's been doing weird stuff like freezing. My text messages ain't been loading
Ralph
up.
just said they was doing that on purpose. Yeah. Ralph just said they was doing that on purpose.
Doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Phones have gotten to a point, bro, where the only things they're enhancing are cameras. Even for Android, it's slowed down with innovation. Mm-hmm. You don't have to buy a phone every other year. A few years ago, you really didn't have to buy them every 2 years. You could keep the same phone for about 3 years now. Everybody got 4K pictures. Everybody got 4K 60 video. Your eyes can't see 8K anyway on those small screens. It wouldn't look no different than 4K, let alone 1080. You don't need it.
I guess I have a question. Going back to Ralph's thing about when they said they were doing it on purpose. Is it one of those things that we are maliciously, like intentionally messing up with you guys' phones with the intention that you'll buy a new one? Or is it one of those things that, yes, you can download iOS 16, but we know for a fact that it's going to mess up your device? Like, but it's not like an intentional, like, we want to mess up your device. We're just saying that you can get the new software, but because of the hardware that you have, you might see some issues. And that's still purposeful, that it's not going to work the way that we expect it to because you're on an older device. But is it malicious intent on their part?
Phoop. Remember that old Gateway PC I had back in college?
Yeah.
that came with like Windows 7. I was able to upgrade that to Windows 10 back when it dropped so many years back, and it was still able to function.
Ryan, you couldn't use it. Ryan, you could not use that laptop without the charger.
Yeah, that's a battery. That's a hardware issue. All laptops, even modern ones.
But it's one in the same though. You have to have the hardware to support the software.
No, batteries die because people charge their devices up to 100% overnight every single day and let them overheat, and then the battery deteriorates over time. That's why everybody's phones break after a year.
But you're saying okay, yes. But when I just brought that up with the iPhone, with people downloading iOS 16 and their batteries started dying, y'all trying to blame it on the software.
But it's other software issues, like what Ralph was talking about, like other software issues when they're throttling the performance. But
I'm just saying that specifically. One of the things that I specifically said that people were seeing when that upgraded to iOS 16 is that their batteries started dying quicker than before, and you guys blamed it on the software. And that's what I'm saying, that the hardware that they have can't support the software that's just been done. Right. That's all I'm trying to say.
So, like, to even put it in simpler terms, say for instance our PCs. Whenever you're trying to do more on your PC, you know you're going to need a better CPU. You know you're going to need a better GPU. That's what Phoop is saying.
Yep.
Like, even throw a different example, let's go to cars. How cars back in like the 80s and 90s were made out of actual steel instead of, the aluminum base that we have now. Like cars back then, we still see them driving now. And it's been 30, 40 years. But if you get a car now, it's only going to last you about 10, 15 years. Like everything has shifted to being, I want the money for what you pay for it instead of it long lasting. Instead of the longevity of things, everything is shifted into, I want the money that you're paying for this. And then you're going to come back 10, 15 years later to come and get more. Even in PCs, you're going to come back to get the new GPU that just came out because you want a better system to use, right?
But I think that's just businesses adapting to the market and the consumer demand. You know what I'm saying? Because like when cars really start becoming popular, you buy that one car, you buy that one truck, that's it. But like think about how media has portrayed cars, like the Fast and the Furious franchise, Transformers. Like Transformers introduced the biggest culture shift in the car industry when they dropped that Camaro.
Yeah.
Like
everybody went crazy.
When the Dodge Chargers started coming out, the Challengers, when the Mustangs, when they switched the new design for the Mustang that they were going with, like consumer demand started going up. And then also you're seeing people like, you have most people who get one car and are satisfied. You have families that get that one family car and they're satisfied. You got people that got 3 to 4 cars.
Well, the thing is, actually, that shift has changed. In the automobile industry, buying vehicles has been shot. I think it's been ongoing for a few years to where now more people are saying, well, it's mostly because of politics and economy, but a lot of people aren't even buying new cars anymore. Yeah. The only reason people have more than one car now is because they can't survive having 2 people who work full time sharing a car because it's almost impossible depending on where your jobs are located. But the automobile industry is going down. And the funny thing is, a lot of that is because of economy, but you're going to start seeing that with, what would the phones be considered? The telecommunications industry? Mm-hmm. Because folks are going to realize this phone too expensive. I can't be buying a $2,000 phone on a 1 year, 2 year payment plan.
They're going to start buying the minimum. They're going to start buying the minimum. Like, I just need this phone to make calls. We finna revert back to what we used to. We finna start buying phones like our grandmas did. Like, I just need something I can call people. Right. Like, I don't need them fancy apps. I don't need them games on my phone. I just need something I can call people with.
Because think about it. You remember when Droid first came out, the Motorola, it was all about productivity. I can get on a calendar app and help and do my work in meetings.
If you want to talk about that, you got to talk about the BlackBerry.
But look at people now. We only really need our phones for social media. That's the only reason everybody uses their phones. Most people don't use it for anything else. WhatsApp is the go to texting app now, and then people use it for Instagram and TikTok.
But I guess I guess that also goes back to consumer demand, because things like, so going back to, we went from flip phones to when the BlackBerry came out and you could send emails. Like, nobody was expecting, us to be able to start sending emails. But now that's the bare minimum. Like, exactly. I need something to check my email with. I need to be able to check my social media. Like, that's the bare minimum. But going back to Ryan's point, as these phones get more expensive, some of them things for to stop dropping off the mouth.
Yeah.
Because now Samsung and Apple both got their cheaper alternatives, like the Galaxy A21 or something.
iPhone got that iPhone SE that's like,
like
the size of a iPhone 5 or an iPhone 4. Like, that junk is small, but it's a compact little phone that you can still, but you can make calls. It's the bare minimum iPhone.
Yeah. Basically. And the camera's still solid in real life. In real life, it's still solid.
Yeah. I do want to turn. What's up, y'all? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more updates from the mob. For the full discussion and more discussions like this one, click the link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Rock with it, let me pop my shit. Let me pop my shit. Hands up.